Number one, that is our syntax for creating the class. Right. I hope you all remember. So it is public, followed by the class name, class keyword, and the class name. So we have to give some class name. So I'm just going to give the class name as program one. Then open and close curly brace. So since Java is a object oriented programming, everything, whatever lines of code you're writing, it has to be embedded within a class. So we cannot write anything outside of the class. So outside of the class, there will be only two statements. So there can be only two statements outside of the class. First one is the package statement. So first is a package statement. Second is an import statement. So these are the only two things that is going to be there outside of a class. So remaining all the codes that you're going to be writing, everything needs to be placed within this opening and closing curly braces. Done. Now, first thing, what is this package statement? So the package statement starts with the keyword package. So I will give the word like this, package followed by a package name. Then close it with a semicolon. So this is the syntax I use for a package. So first you have to understand is what is a package? A package is nothing but a folder. In our normal Windows, when we are using our laptops, we create folders. So the purpose of creating a folder is for file segregation. Guys, I request you to kindly mute yourself. Yeah, thank you. So, the main purpose of creating a package or creating a folder in our system is I want to segregate the files. I want to keep it in a very organized manner. The same concept here in a programming language in Java, we call it as a package. So, what you're going to do is you are going to create a package. Then, the programs that you're going to create, you're going to place it in this package. So create a program. So before that, mention under which package this program needs to be stored. That is under which folder you're planning to store this program. So what you have to do for that, package followed by the package name. Package name you should have already created. So that name you're going to give here. So when I give like this, whatever the class I'm creating will be placed within this package. So that is the first statement in a program we are going to be having. Then, following this package. Okay, so as I said, this is the first line of code that I'm going to be having. So, following this package, what is the next thing? Next thing is what we have as import statements. Import statements comes with the keyword import. So, the keyword that you're going to use is import. So, what is this import statement used for? Say, for example, there is a class which I have created. Okay, and you want to make use of that class. I have already created a class. Inside the class, there are functions, there are variables, everything is present. Now, you would like to make use of my class. So, my class is somewhere else. How can your program make use of my class or whatever is present within my class? So, what you have to do is first you have to import my file. So in order to import my file, the keyword you're going to be using is import. Now, imagine in a real time scenario. You are working in a company, you're working in a project. So definitely you are not the individual person who's going to do a project. So there will be a bunch of you working together. So one of you may have developed some class. Inside the class, you would have created some functions. So the other person is going to make use of that. So how to share that file? How to share the file among all the people working in that project? So for that only, we are going to be making use of this import statement. So import followed by you have to give where that class is present. You have to give the address, like the location of where that particular class is given. So now in our program, I am going to be making use of one predefined class called as scanner. So scanner is a class, it is a predefined class. So it has already been created for us, and I'm just going to make use of this class. Now, where is this class present? This class is present inside a folder called util. Util is the name of the folder or name of the package inside which this scanner class is available. Inside which this scanner class is available. Now, where is util? Where is this util folder? This util folder is present inside another folder called Java. So please look at the hierarchy how it goes. If I want to make use of this predefined class called as scanner, what is the first thing I have to do? I need the access to this util package. So where is this util package present? It is present inside this folder Java. Now, where is this folder Java present? This folder is going to get installed when you are installing your JDK. First time when you are installing your Java software, you are going to install your JDK. So inside the JDK, this Java folder is present by default. So inside of this folder, there is another folder or what we call as a package called util within that scanner. So this is the hierarchy of this class. So now if I want to make use of scanner class in my program, what I have to do? Import. First, give the root folder Java dot followed by the subfolder dot. What is the class inside which I'm going to use? Scan. Then close it with a semicolon. So, as I said, these are the only two statements that we are going to be writing outside of the class. All the remaining of our code is going to be coming inside this block. Inside this class block, we are going to be writing. Okay, so now you know what is a package. You understand what is an import statement. Now, coming to this scanner class. Why are we going to make use of this scanner class? Now, the scanner class is used for something called as dynamic. So, there is a concept called dynamic inputs. Now, what is this dynamic inputs? Dynamic input means reading the value of a variable from the user at the time of program's execution. At the time of program's execution. That is, what do you mean by this? All this technical things. First thing, normally so far in our program, the couple of examples what we have seen. How did we create our variables? We created the variables like this. Remember the general syntax, data type. So here I'm going to say int followed by the name of the variable. So let me call the name as age equals to, you are going to specify some value. So let me give the value as 25, close it with a semicolon. So this is how generally I have been creating variables in my programs. Am I right? So data type, variable name equals to, we are going to specify some value for this variable. Now, let us take a small practical program. I want you to write a code to add two numbers. This is my, let us assume this is my project. My project is very simple. Add two numbers, display. That is what I am going to do. Now, how to go about this? Let us say int n1 is my number. I'm giving some number. Now, I'm creating another variable. Say int n2 equals to create some other value. Now I'm saying int sum or total anything variable name you decide equals to n1 plus n2. Then I'm going to say system.out.println. So system.out.println. Because for me to print anything in the output window, I need
Yeah,
this
Nisha,
function to be working. Yes.
your presentation is not visible, and there is a huge lag between your voice.
Yes, Anusha.
Is everybody facing it?
Yes, yes, your screen is stuck.
Yes, all are facing the same issue.
Yeah.
One second. I'm stopping the presentation and I'm representing. Just give me a minute.
Yeah, okay.
Guys, is the screen visible now?
Yes, Anusha.
And
Yes,
how is my voice? Is it okay?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
You're
okay.
audible.
Right. So, yes, where we valuing? Yes. So, in order for me, the project says add two numbers and print the result. So, this is the line of code that I'm going to write. So, consider this is my project. Now, when I run this, what it is going to do? 45 plus 25. So, that is the output it is going to be giving me 70. So the output when I execute this particular piece of code, it is going to give me the value as 70. But this is a fixed value. Every time, no matter how many times I'm going to run this program, even if I run this 100 times also, the output is always going to be same. But what if I want to add different numbers each time when I execute the program? So for that, what I have to do, I have to go inside the code and make the changes here. Now, please understand the projects that you're going to do is for a client. The client is a person who has no clue about Java programming. Otherwise, he would have created the project on his own. So, why is he going to give it to us? So, basically, he has no clue on how to execute the program or how to change the value and all. So, the project that you're going to do and give him should be having dynamic inputs. That is, when I'm going to run the program, it has to ask me, okay, what is the value of N1? What is the first number? What is the second number you're planning to enter? Then, based on whatever number I'm going to enter, it has to do the addition and it has to print me the sum. So, basic idea is every time when I execute the program, I may be able to give different inputs and get the required outputs accordingly. So, for me to achieve this, I have to go for something which is called as dynamic inputs. And this dynamic inputs can be achieved only with the help of this predefined class that is called as scanner. Right. So now, how is this class going to help us? So, in order to make use of the scanner class, I have to follow certain steps. Step number one, when I want to make use of this class in my program, the step number one that I have to do is import the scanner class. Import the scanner class in your program. So that step we have just done. That is the step which we have just done. So what did I do here on top of the program? I have imported the scanner class. So that is done. Now, second step, what you have to do is you need to create an object of this scanner class. So step number two requires us to create an object. So create an object of the scanner class. So this is the second step I have to be doing. Now, in order for me to create an object, that itself has a separate syntax. Right, so let us look into that first. So now, coming to our program, coming to our class again. Please remember, any program that you want to execute and see an output, it needs to have a main function. As the main function is what we call as an entry point of a program. No matter how big program you're writing, I need a starting point or I need an execution point. So that entry point is nothing but my main. And here in Java, what is the syntax we use? Public static void main, and then within the parenthesis string args. Close the parenthesis. Then, of course, block. So within opening and closing curly braces. This is where I'm going to be writing the next set of codes. Now, what is that I'm going to do? I am going to create an object. So create an object. So now, what is the syntax for creating an object? Class name. So here for which class I'm going to create the object? For the scanner class. So the class name is going to be scanner. So whichever class for which you're going to create the object, that class name we have to mention first, followed by the object name. So object name is an identifier. So it is your choice. You can give anything as your object name. Only thing is follow the identifier rules. So I'm going to give here SC. This is the name of the object that I'm planning to give. Now, next step equals to new. Again, repeat the class name of. So here this new. New is a keyword that is used to create a memory for my object. Please remember, object is also used to store something. So for that, it does require the memory. So who's going to give the necessary memory for my object is this new keyword. So it is used for memory allocation. Then repeat the class name. Inside this, I have to mention the source. We call this as a source. Source in the sense from where I am going to get the input. I'm saying I'm going to read the input. From where am I going to read the input? There are different ways of reading the input. So here I am going to read the input from my standard input device. That is, I'm going to execute the program. At that time, the program is going to run. So through keyboard, I'm going to give certain values. So it has to read the values entered through the keyboard and then store it within the variables. So source is going to be the standard input device. Now, standard input, how to write it? System dot in. So how you write for println? What do you do? System dot out dot println. That is, you're going to say in the standard output window, I want to print the output. So that is why you're using system. System is a class. Out is an object. So system dot out dot println. So here for the scanner class, we are going to be saying as system dot in. That is, from the standard input device, take the source. I'm going to read the value from this particular location. So done. So first step, importing my scanner class is over. Second step is creating an object of my scanner class is also done. Now, why am I creating this object? What is the necessary for me to create this object? So please understand, inside this scanner class, there are certain predefined functions that are available for us. So predefined functions are present. What is the use of these functions? These are the functions using which you are going to read the values. You are going to get the variable's value using these functions. Now, in the starting of the class, I told you about data types. So totally, we have 8 primitive or what we call as fundamental data types. So again, data types, what is the purpose of it? It is used to classify what type of information that I am going to gather. Am I going to ask the user to enter a number, or is it a decimal value, or is it a group of characters string value, or is it only a single character, or is it a true or false value? So what is that I am going to get? What is the type of data or type of information that I am planning to get from the user? To categorize that only, I have the concept of data types. One thing. Second thing is memory allocation. Based on the data type only, how much of memory is needed for that variable is decided by my compiler. So these are the two important things about my data type. And in Java, totally I have 8 primitive data types. So what are those data types? So first one, we have byte, short, int, long. This is the first category of my data types. They represent integers. Integers, or rather I call as whole numbers, full numbers without any fractional or decimal values. The second thing is float and double. Float and double, they are used for fractional values. That is values with a decimal points. So for storing such type of data, I'm going to use a float and double. Then of course I have Boolean. Boolean is for true or false value. Then I have char. Char is for a single character value. How to store a single character? With the help of this char. So these are the 8 primitive data types that I have. Apart from this, there is one more thing which we should be knowing, that is our string. So please remember, string does not come under data types. String is a class. In Java, string is what we call as a class, and whatever you create for the string, I'm saying string s1, string s2, that s1 and s2 are objects, because since it is a class, whatever we create for that class is an object. Okay, that is the technically correct scenario. But normally, when we are speaking, we are just going to say it as a variable only. But what is correct is string is a class, and whatever you're going to create for a class is going to be an object. Right. So these are the 8 primitive data types that I will be using in my program. Plus, I have one class called as strings that is also used for getting my data. So for each and every data type, I have a separate function that is available. So for every data type, whatever type of value I'm planning to read, I have to make use of the appropriate functions. But it is very easy for us to remember the function. Why? Because all the functions follow the same format. That is, all the function is comes with this next, with this word next. Next followed by my x. X refers to my data type. So this is the general format. This is the general format of the functions that I will be using, which is present inside my scanner class. Always next will be there, followed by this x. X represents my data type. Right. So now let us see here. First is I have a data type called as byte. So for byte, the function name is next byte. The name of the function is going to be next byte. See here, byte B is in capital letters. So whatever that is going to be starting data type character is going to be in capital letters. Now for short, again the name of the function next short. For int, it is going to be next int. For long, again next long. Float, next float. Double, same. As you can see, if you know one format, it's very easy for us to remember the rest of our functions, because it is going to have the same name as that of my data type. And for boolean, so next boolean. Now coming to the char and string, here is where there is a slight difference. For strings, for a string type, the function is next. The function is just next. It is not going to be next to strings or anything like that. It is just next. The function name is just next. This is one function. Another function I have next line. So these are the two functions that I'm having for the string. Now coming to my char. Char is used to read a single character. So for that, what is the function? I do not have any separate function. I do not have any separate function for char. I have to make use of the same string function only, but in a slightly different manner. How to do it? Same function, that is my next dot char at 0. Char at 0. Now let me explain you what this is. Now for that, first you have to understand what is a string. Then only we can follow what is this function going to be doing for us. So let us take a simple example. I am saying string yes is equal to Java. So basically, what is a string? String is nothing but a group of characters. Any group of characters that you're going to enclose within double quotations. That is the value that I'm going to give within double quotation is what I call as a string. Done. So now this is a string value. So now the string can contain alphabets, it can contain digits, it can contain any special characters, anything can be a valid string. Only thing is it has to be enclosed within double quotes. So when I give a value like this, when I'm going to give a value like this, how to make my computer understand this Java? Because we all know one thing, computer can understand only zeros and ones. Other than that, it cannot follow anything else. So how exactly for me, how can I make it understand what is JAVA? So for this, please remember, we follow some encoding formats. We follow certain encoding formats. What is the format we follow? ASCII. ASCII is one format. Another format is Unicode. These two are what we call as encoding formats. Now, what is this ASCII? First, let us talk about ASCII because ASCII is what we make use of most of the situations. So, ASCII refers to American Standard Code for Information Interchange. This is the full form of ASCII. So, what exactly is ASCII? This is what it is. So, American Standard Code for Information Interchange. We have just taken the first letter of each and every word and formed this acronym. Now, what is this going to do? Please remember, ASCII is an encoding format for English. Encoding format for the English language. That is, for each and every character present in our keyboard. You know, the keyboard that we use, I use is a normal English keyboard. So as you. So every character that is present in my keyboard has a number representation. That is what my ASCII is. So every character is going to give a number value for that. When I have a number value, I can convert that number into zeros and ones very easily. Binary conversion, we all learned it in our school days also. So what we have to do, we have to keep on dividing the number by 2. So take up all the reminders from bottom to top. That is our binary value. So if I have a number representation, then it is possible for me to convert that character into zeros and ones. So that is why we are following this ASCII format. So ASCII is a encoding format which for the English characters, for the English keyboards, every character present in the keyboard is having a number representation. Both printable and non-printable characters. Now, what do you mean by a non-printable character? For example, you have function keys in your keyboard. When you press the function key, does anything get typed here? No. But some action happens, but nothing is going to be displayed. That is what I mean by a non-printable character. Same thing when I'm typing A, B, C, D. I can see the character being physically entered in the screen. But there are some characters which is what we call as a non-printable characters. So there is an ASCII value present for everything, printable as well as non-printable characters. For all my function keys, for the escape button, for the enter key, for the space bar, for dot, everything has an ASCII number representation. For example, alphabet A. Please remember, it is a case sensitive. So lowercase alphabets and uppercase alphabets are different. So small a has the ASCII value as 97. Capital A has the ASCII value as 65. 0, the number 0 has an ASCII value of 48. Like this, each and every character, say for example, at the rate of, I think it is 64. Let us just check it up once anyways. So you can just go to Google, search as ASCII table. 64 is the number. 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 64 is the num So see here, these are the characters and this is the number representation for that. So for 64, yes, at the rate of symbol. So like this, there is every character I have has a number representation followed by it. So that is what I said. So now it is very easy for us to remember this number also. How? If small a starting with 97, then B next value 98, C is going to be 99. So always remember next to next value because these are consecutive values. Alphabet A to Z is consecutive. So the values also is going to be consecutive for us. So if the starting value you know, it is very easy for us to calculate the remainings. After all, it is 26 alphabets. So it is going to keep on going. So keep on going like this. Then you're going to have Z. Z is going to have 122. That is the ending. Z alphabet is 122. See, as a programmer, it is very important for you to remember the ASCII numbers because there are some programs based on strings which you will be using these numbers to print it, to write the logic for it. So if not for anything else, at least for capital case, lowercase and digits, this at least is compulsory for all programmers to know the numbers. So same way, if capital A 65, then B B is going to be 66, C is going to be 67, so on. So it is going to keep on going like this till Z, capital Z equals to 90. Capital Z will have the value as 90. So same way for the numbers. 0. 0 is 48. So that means 1, 49, 2, 3. Like that it is going to keep on going. And see here, 57. So it is going to start from here till 9, which is going to have the ASCII value as 57. So as I said, at least for these values, ASCII numbers is important. So now when I know the ASCII numbers, I will convert this 97 into zeros and ones. Then that is the binary value of A. That is what A is. So whenever there is an A in my value, that binary number is what is going to be represented. So please remember that how it is going to be working. Right now, I have another encoding format called Unicode. What is this Unicode? Unicode is an international encoding format. It is an international encoding format. It covers all languages, all the spoken languages of your entire world. Germany, French, Italian, Spanish, Greek, Latin, Hebrew, whatever language that is known to mankind. All the languages have a number representation in our Unicode. That is a Unicode, international standard. They follow the international standard. Like how we like to write or type programs in our, when you want to type a message or something, we like to do it in our mother tongue. So same way, coding also can be done. So for that reason only, we have an Unicode standard. So all other language in the Unicode, the first 128 characters are my ASCII characters. The first 128 are all my ASCII characters. So after the ASCII characters only, the remaining things comes. See here, what is the ASCII value here? You can see starting value 0, 0 to, see what is the ending value given here? 127. 0 to 127 numbers are already occupied by the ASCII table. So totally how many characters then? 128 characters. So even when we look at the Unicode table also, the first 127 or the first 128 characters are from this ASCII table only. It is the same. For the English, we follow the same pattern. After this only the other languages comes. So this is the encoding format that we are going to be using. Now you may ask, ma'am, we were dealing with strings. Why suddenly encoding? Very important. So now I know this is a string. How to convert the string into zeros and ones, make my computer understand? Using this encoding. Now, how it is going to be done? Please remember, when I am giving a group of characters like this, internally, how it is going to be stored? Okay, I am giving the value like this. Internally, in my system, how it is going to be stored? Please remember, each character will occupy 2 bytes. 2 bytes of memory. Each character will occupy 2 bytes of memory. Again, why am I saying 2 bytes? Because it is just one character. Please remember, in Java, char data type, that is a single character, occupies 2 bytes of memory. That is why each and every character in my string is going to occupy 2 bytes. Right. So how it is internally going to be stored? It is going to be stored like this: J, A, V, A. Like that, each and every character will occupy one memory location. Each and every character will occupy one memory location. Now, we store these values and access the values with something called as indexes. We can access the string values using something called as indexes. Now, what is this indexes? This indexes is like a reference to the character. Okay, let me give you one small example. Say we are in a physical class, we are sitting in a classroom. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to pass one paper. I'm going to say, all of you, please write your names. All of you who are there in the class, write your names and give me. So, what is the first step I'm going to do? First person, what they are going to do, he or she will put the number 1 and they will write their name. The next person, 2. Next person, 3. So, what is that 1, 2, 3 and all? It's like a serial number, it's like a reference, right? That is the same thing here also I'm going to be doing. My reference, my character reference. So here normally when we write, we start with 1. My computer is going to start with 0. Please remember the starting index value or in my computer is always 0. So 0. The next one is going to be 1. Next one is going to be 2. Next one is going to be 3. Like this. How much ever bigger the string is, each and every character will occupy only one index position. So under one index, only one character will be present. And even space is also a character. Say for example, I'm giving Java, then I'm giving a space, then I'm giving, let us say I'm saying 9. So what will happen? Java, again I have a space. The space will occupy index position 4. Then index position 5 will be occupied by the value 9. So in a string, even the spaces, even any special characters at the rate of or dot or anything you're using, everything is considered as one character. So every character is going to occupy one index position. So this is how internally my strings are going to be stored inside the system. Now, every character, every index position, one character. And this character J has an ASCII value. So how it is going to store? I have a ASCII number. Convert that ASCII number into zeros and ones, and I'm going to store that zeros and ones here. That is how internally it is going to be taking. Now, coming back to our syntax, why are we talking about all this? Look at this function, what I'm saying. Char data type is used to store single character value. It is used to store a single character value. So, which character I want? Which character I want to store? Whatever the character is there at index position 0. So, next function is used to read a string. String is nothing but a group of characters. So, in that group of characters, whatever character is occupying the index position 0, I am going to take that character, that single character, and assign it to the char variable. That is what I'm going to be doing. So please remember, there is no next char function in Java. If you want to read a single character, This is how we are going to be doing it. Right. So now let us see a small example. These I described to you about the functions, what is going to happen and everything. Let us try to understand this with a programming example. Right. Coming to our program. This is my program. This is my class. This is the main function I'm having. Now, in order to take a dynamic input, what are the steps I said? Step number 1, import. So go for the import statement. Go for my import statement. So say import java.util.scanner. Point number 2, create an object of the scanner class. Again, I told you how to create an object. So that is what I'm going to be doing. Create an object of my scanner class. Create an object of the scanner class. That is the step I have just done here. Now, let us start with char data type. Let us try to understand with the char data type. So, what I'm going to do, I am going to create char. So, char C1, comma C2. Let us have one more C3. Totally, I am having 3 character variables. That is C1, C2, C3. All the 3 variables can store only a single character because it is of the data type char. Now, let us say I have a system.out.println. I'm just going to make use of it. Okay, so system.out.println. Let me just take this. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask the user to enter a character. I'm not going to assign the value. I'm not going to say equals to and assign. I'm going to ask the user to enter a character. So see what I'm saying. I am saying enter a character. Only one single character I'm asking them to enter. So this character where I want to store inside C1. Inside C1 I want to store. Now what is the function that is used to take my char? This is the function. So next dot caret. Now this function is present inside where? It is present inside the scanner class. It is present inside the scanner class. Super. How to call a function? How to use a function? What is the syntax for using a function? Syntax is object name dot function name or method name, whichever way you want to call it. Object name dot method name followed by the semicolon. So this is the syntax for function calling or method calling. That is, if I want to make use of the function, this is the syntax I have to be giving. Right, so now come here. So C1 is equal to, what is the name of my object here? Yes, C. So yes, C dot. What is the name of the function I have to go for? Next. Remember, next is a function. So it always have the parenthesis. After this, dot. Char at. Remember, char C small letters at A capital letter. At what is the index value? 0. So whatever is stored in the 0th location, I am going to take that character and I'm going to store it in C1. Now, let us print it. Let us print it. Value of C1. Value of C1 is equal to, then plus concatenation C1. Now, let us run this. Run this program. So, when I execute the program, see what it is happening. It is asking me to enter a character and then it is keep on blinking. Unless and until I give a character, it will not proceed. the program is not going to proceed with the next line. So you have to give the character. So let us say I am giving at the rate of. I am giving only one single character. So next function, next is a string function. So it is going to take this. How many characters are here? Only one character. Which index position it is going to be? 0. That is what you are assigning it to this C1. Now when I enter, see what is this? Value of C1 is equal to at the rate of. Okay, so whatever is there at that index position, that value is given to this. That single character is assigned to this C1. Now, for us to understand this little bit more better, look at this one. I am saying string yes is equal to. Okay, so I'm going to say string yes is equal to within double quotes. Remember, all my string values has to be given within double quotes. So within double quotes, I am giving programming. This is the string value. So the value of my string I'm giving as programming. Now, look here what I'm doing. C2. C2 is equal to yes dot. Let me use the same function. Char at 0. Char at 0. Yes dot char at 0, because yes is my string. So in this string, whatever is present at index position 0, assign that to C2. Give that value to C2. Now let us print it. Let us print C2. So I'm saying value of C2 is equal to. Now run this. For C1, it is going to ask me to enter the character. So I'm going to give the character as 9. Now for C2, see what is the character it is taking? P. Why? Because P is the one which is there at index position 0. Suppose I am giving here index position 7. Yes dot char at index position 7. What do you think we'll be getting? Please remember, string index always starts with 0. So this is going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to get this character M. Look here, run this program. So first given a character here for the C1. So let me give it as P. Now look at C2. M. So only a single character is coming. So that is this function speciality. So from this string, take the character which is there at the specified index position and assigning to its variable. Now let us do another one. Let us do another example. I have C3, right? So I'm going to do it for C3. There you go. I am saying C3 is equal to, yes, C dot next of caret 0. Now I'm printing C3. So let us say C3 is equal to, right. Now run this again. So for the first one, I'm giving single character value, single character string. So that E is going to go and get stored. For the second one, of course, from this index position 7, I'm taking. So yeah, look at the third one. Cursor is blinking. So I have to enter something. See what I'm entering. I am entering Python. Is it a single character? Of course not. It is a string value. Yes, it will accept, because what is the function I'm using here? Next. Next is a string function. So obviously it will accept Python. But from this Python, what will be stored inside C3? Only the character which is there at index position 0, which is nothing but my P. See what is the output I'm getting? Even though you're giving us Python, only the first character is taken and stored there. So that is how I will be reading a string value. Okay, so these are the different ways in which you can actually get a character from the user for the string. You can ask the user to enter a character. They may give a single character also. They may give a group of character also. So you are going to take only the first character and store it. Right. Now, I also told you about the ASCII values. Now, let me tell you about this ASCII. Let me show you a small example about this ASCII also. Right. So now, what I'm going to do is, there you go. I am saying char C1. Char C1 is equal to A. Remember, single character. So you're supposed to enclose within single quotations. Right. Let us go with another variable. Let me take another variable. So here I'm saying char C2. C2 is equal to, I am giving as small a. Okay, I'm going to give it as small a. So C1 is one character, C2 is another character. Now, see what I'm doing. System dot out dot println. I am saying C1 plus C2. C1 plus C2. Run this. See what is the output you're going to be getting. See what it says, 162. So where is it fetching this value of 162? Remember, based on the ASCII value. So ASCII value of capital A is 65. ASCII value of small a is 97. So when I say C1 plus C2, what is it doing? It is adding these two ASCII values. That is what I said. Every character has a ASCII number representation. That is how it is making my computer understand that character. Right. Now, you can try this also. Now, I am saying C1 is having A. So, let us say C1 plus plus. Now, I am going to print my C1. I am going to print my C1. See? Value of C1 is equal to, let me say this. Okay, so first I'm creating C1. I'm creating the value as A. Then I'm saying system.out.println value of C1 is equal to, close it, plus C1. Concatenated value. This value is not plus additional. This is concatenation. I want to concatenate this string along with this number, this value. Right. Now, next thing I'm saying C1 plus plus. Now, let me have another print statement. I am saying next character is equal to, again, say C1 plus plus. Now, give here again. Print it. See what is the output you're getting. Just run this. See what is the output I'm getting. First time it is saying A, then B, then C. So what is happening here? How it is able to move to the next characters? So please understand plus plus. Plus plus means whatever is the current value of C1, add 1 along with that value. Always remember, it always adds 1, never more than 1. So plus plus means whatever is the current value of C1 plus 1. So what is the current value of C1? A. And the number representation? 65. So 65 plus 1, 66. What is 66? Character B. That is why B is getting printed. Then again I'm saying C plus plus, C1 plus plus. So 66 is becoming 67. Add 1. So 67. What is the character? C. So this is what I mean by every value, every string character value, every character has a ASCII number representation for it. So everything happens based on the ASCII value only. Right. So this is about our char data type, how to get the value for my char. Now, let us go with the next scenario, strings. The next data type, what we are going to be discussing is our strings. So let the scanner class be there. And I'm going to have this print statement also. Right. So create a string. So I'm saying string name designation. Like this, you can create n number of values. Just for an example, I'm creating only 2 values. Now, ask the user to enter the value. Remember dynamic inputs. So what is that I'm going to say? I'm going to ask the user to enter. So I'm going to say system.out.println, enter the name or enter your name, whatever. Then I have to read this value. Whatever is the name given, I have to read the value and store it inside this variable name. So how to go about that? You're going to say name is equal to object name, sc, dot function name, next. The function name that I'm going to use is next. So sc dot next. That's it. Now, next value, what I'm going to take? I'm going to ask what is the designation. So there you go. Let us say enter your designation. Now, this has to be stored inside which variable? This one. So take that variable equals to, again, remember, whenever you want to call a function, object name dot function name. That is the syntax we always have to follow. Now I have got both the values. Print it. Print it according to your choice. So how am I going to print this? I'm going to say something like this. Hi, this is, my name has to come here. Then I'm going to say I am a. Then my designation has to come in this place. Then close it. So now when I run this program, see how is my output going to come? Yes, what is the error? I have not given the semicolons. So ending with a semicolon mandatory. So give that. Let us run it again. Yes, hopefully no error. So see. So enter your name. I'm entering my name. Then enter your designation. Okay, so I am a trainer. So see how is my output coming? Hi, this is Anusha. I am a trainer. Now, next time when I run this program, I want to give a different input. I can give different inputs every time when I come. See, I'm saying question. So I'm saying I'm a DBA. I'm a database administrator. So whatever you want, every time when I run the program, it is possible for me to give different set of inputs because I am using a dynamic input here. Right. So this is how I'm going to be using a string value. Now, let us try one more example here. Okay, let us try one more example. Yes, there you go. Now, run this program once again. Only one value. So let us run this once again. So enter your name. This is my full name. I'm saying Anusha space yes. Run this. See what is the output it is saying. Hi, this is Anusha. It is not taking my surname at all. It is not taking my last name at all. What is this? Is it like, am I supposed to take it that it doesn't like my last name? No, right. So the problem with the next function is that it will not be able to read any value after a space. When you are giving a space, it will not be able to read the value. It will not be able to read a string with spaces. For example, email ID and all, next is enough because it's a single word strings. But whenever you're going to give a multi-word strings, then next function is not sufficient for us. So let us run the same program again. Now look at the difference in the output. This is the difference between using the next function and the next line function. Next line function means it will read the entire string along with any spaces, whatever you're giving. It will read everything and store it. Okay, let us try one more. So here, let us say this as yes. I'm just going to call it as yes. Okay, here I'm saying enter a sentence. Let us say enter a sentence, and then I'm just going to print the yes value. I'm just going to print the yes value. Now let us run this. Okay, see, enter the sentence. I am saying hi, welcome to Java programming. Now, see what is the output I'm getting. No matter how big you are giving, how many spaces, whatever it is, until you press the enter button, whatever you're typing is completely taken and it is going to go and get stored inside this variable. Yes, that is the next line function. Until the next line is encountered, everything that you're typing will be taken and stored within the variable. Right, so this is the difference between the next and the next line. So whenever you have a string of a single word, then next function is sufficient. So whenever you have a string which comprises of multiple words, which is going to have some space or anything else in between, then you're going to go for the next line function. Right, so now there is one more important thing I wanted to tell you. Okay, before that, let us see for integers and float. Let us see how to read the value for an integer and float. Same thing. What we are doing now, we are going to be doing the same thing over there also. So there you go. So I am going to take, again, whatever is the data type you want, declare the variables. And please make sure you're using the appropriate input functions. So yes, as a user for the value. So let us just say enter a number. So then I want to store the number inside A. So I'm saying A is equal to object name dot, remember, function name next int. So the name of the function that I'm going to use to store an integer value, next int. Similar way, get the value for a double. So I'm saying enter a real number. Enter a real number. You know, real number is nothing but a decimal number. I'm going to store it in B. And what is the function I have to use? Next double. Okay, then we can print it. Then we can just print the values. There you go. I'm just going to say system.out.println. Let us just give A is equal to, give the value of A, and B is equal to, we are just going to concatenate the value of B. Of course, close it with a semicolon. Now run this. See, enter a number, an integer number, enter a real number. See what happens. So this is how I will be reading different inputs from the user, store it within the variables and make use of it. And be making use of it. So this is how I will be using my class scanner to read the inputs. So is there any doubts in this? Is it clear? Anything needs to be repeated? Can you please message me in the chat?
Yeah, Anusha.
Yes.
Yeah. As you have told earlier, function is a combination of like method definition and method calling, right?
Yes.
Yeah, method calling is very clear by reference of this program. So can you please explain method definition also by this?
Yes, I will come to that, Ma. Sure.
Yeah.
I will come to that. So anyone else, anything in this so far what we have seen? Kindly at least put a message in the chat saying if it is clear or any doubts is there. Okay, so let us move on to the next one. I'll tell you about the function definition and the function calling part also clearly. Okay, coming to that. That is the next thing I'm going to talk to you about, byte and short. Okay, now, as you asked me, yes, there is a data type called as byte and another data type called as short. So why are we not making use of this? Why are we going always for the integers? Int is the most frequently used data type. Why? Let me show you a small reason for that. Let us take like this. Byte A is equal to 10. Then I'm saying byte B is equal to 20. Then I'm saying byte C is equal to A plus B. So again, let me take this and put it in the program. There you go. I'm not going to use anything about scanner class now, but just the object is there. That's all. Let it be there. No problem. So now what is that I'm going to do is I am saying system.out.println C. I'm just printing the value of C. Now see what happens when I run this program. See what it says. It is throwing me an error. It says it is an incompatible data type. Possibly loosely conversion from int to byte. Where is this int coming from? I am using all byte. A is also byte, B is also byte. I'm going to store the result in C, which is also a byte data type. Now, byte occupies, remember, the byte data type, it occupies 1 byte of memory. 1 byte of memory. Now, 1 byte of memory in the sense, what is the range it is going to have? The range, that is minimum and the maximum value that can be stored inside this byte variable. Minimum value minus 128 minus 128 to 127. This is the range. This is the range that is allocated for my byte data type. So this is the minimum value. This is the maximum value. So remember, in Java, everything is assigned numbers. Please remember, there are two categories of numbers that we make use of. One is called as assigned numbers, and another one is unsigned numbers. Signed numbers means variables, that is, it can accept both positive and negative values. A number which can store both positive and negative value, that is what we call as signed numbers. When I say unsigned, unsigned means it can store only positive values. Only positive. I cannot store any negative numbers. In Java, all the data types what I'm having are all signed numbers. By default, they are all signed numbers. That is, it is going to have both negative and positive numbers. So, generally, the range of a byte, 1 byte is 0 to 255. But when I divide this value among, negative values and positive values, this is the range that is allowed. How to prove this? Do this. I am saying byte A is equal to 150. Run this. See what happens here. So here itself, it is throwing me an error. See, it is not going for the next line. Last time what it showed the error here only. But now it is showing two errors. One is here itself the problem is coming. If you are using more specific like a NetBeans or an Eclipse IDE, the error is much more specified for you. So this is the problem, because why? It is going beyond the range of the capacity, beyond the range of the byte. So whenever it is going beyond the range, it is converted into an integer. And I'm trying to store an integer inside a byte. That is why it says here conversion problems. So please remember, this is the range of my byte. Now you may ask, ma'am, this is within the range. The value that is going to come inside is 30. 30 is within the range of the byte, whatever is the range I have mentioned here. So why is it not accepting? The question is, whenever you perform any calculations on integer values, let it be a simple addition, multiplication, division, whatever it is, any sort of calculations you perform on an integer value. Remember, I'm not talking about the int value. I'm talking about integers. Integers means whole numbers. Byte is also an integer. Short is also an integer. Int is also an integer. So whenever you are performing any operation on whole numbers, the result of the operation by default is always an int value. The compiler will always take the result as an int, data type int. So this number 30 what I'm getting is of the data type int. Now int data type occupies how many bytes of memory? 4 bytes, which is much larger in size when compared to my byte. So I am trying to fit a 4 byte of data into 1 byte. How is it possible? Smaller data type. I'm trying to put a bigger data type into a smaller data type. So this is not possible. The same problem will come if you are using short also. Instead of this, if I'm using short also is going to have the same issue. See what happens. So now only one error, because I have removed that 150. So only one error. Now let us change the data type. Let us take it as short. So A is also short. B is also short. I'm storing the result also in short. Now also same 30. But what is it? Now it is going to be an integer again. Short occupies only 2 bytes of data. Int occupies 4 bytes of data. So again, larger data type, I am trying to fit inside a smaller data type. It is not possible. Again, this is also going to throw me an error. This is the reason. See here. See what is the error says now? Int to short. First time it was saying int to byte. Now it is saying int to short. So this is the reason why we are not using the byte and the short data types at all. We always prefer to use integers. Otherwise, all these type conversion problems will be coming. So the data type mismatch issues will be coming. This can be handled. I'm not saying this cannot be handled. This can very well be handled by one concept, which is called as type conversion. This is our next topic, what we are going to be discussing. So what is going to happen here? Whenever you're trying to fit a bigger data type into a smaller data type, it is not at all accepted. If I want to do it, I have to follow certain syntax. So that concept is what we call as type conversion. Type conversion means converting the value of one data type into another. This is what we call as a type conversion. Now, this type conversion is of two types. One I have is implicit type conversion. Implicit conversion. And the other one what I have is what I call as explicit conversion. Now, what is this implicit? Implicit conversion is automatic conversion. Automatic. You don't have to do anything. Who is going to do it? My compiler. It is completely taken care by my compiler. Implicit conversion means it's an automatic conversion which is done by my compiler. When the compiler will do? The compiler will do this sort of conversion. That is, whenever I am going from a smaller data type to a bigger data type, I'm having a smaller data type, that value I am trying to put inside a bigger data type. Then automatic conversion will happen. And this is done by my compiler. This conversion is also called as widening conversion. Widening conversion. Okay, now what do I mean by this? Say, for example, I have a data byte. Byte, I can store it inside a short. Yes, because byte occupies 1 byte, short occupies 2 bytes. So any data of the byte data type, I can very well store it into a short because it is a higher data type, smaller to larger. Same way, short value, I can store it inside an int. Any integer value, I can store it inside a long. Any long value, I can store it inside a float. Please remember, you may think, ma'am, float is only 4 bytes. Long is 8 bytes. So how? No. Float, even though it is having only 4 bytes, since it is a decimal value, the capacity of float is much higher than our long. So the long value can be stored within a float, and float can be stored inside a double, because double is the highest memory occupancy. So this is what we call as an implicit or an automatic conversion. So going from a smaller data type to a bigger data type. Now still not clear. Let us try to understand it with an example. Right. So let us create a variable like this. I am saying double b is equal to 100. Now please remember, double data type, it is used to store real numbers. That is fractional numbers. 100 is a whole number. So I am storing a whole number into a data type that accepts fractional values. So what is my compiler going to do here? It is going to do an automatic conversion. So when I say system.out.println of b, it will give you the value as 100.0. The 0.0 is added by my compiler. It is going to convert this integer into a double value. Smaller to bigger is automatic conversion for me. So I don't have to do anything manually. So that is nothing but my implicit conversion. Now let us see an example for that. So again, there you go. Let me take this out. Right now, double b equals to, I am giving the value as 100. Then I'm saying system.out.println b. I'm just printing the value of b. Now when I print, see what is the value it is taking as 100.0. How is this 0.0 getting added? My compiler is doing that work. Now same way, look at one more example. I am having something like this: char ch is equal to, let me give the value here as D, capital D. I'm giving the value capital D. Now see what I'm doing. I am saying int x is equal to ch. Int x is equal to ch. Now remember, char character, single character, int whole number. So I am trying to store a character inside a whole number. Now when I print x, see what is the value it is going to give me. See, ASCII value. So how it is taking? Again, my compiler is doing an automatic type conversion. So we know that every character has a ASCII value. So ASCII value of D is 68. 68 is what? It's a whole number. So when I say x is equal to ch, my compiler automatically will convert this character into its ASCII equivalent number and then store it inside this x. Again, an automatic type conversion. where everything is taken care by my compiler itself. So as a programmer, we don't have any work at all in an implicit type conversion. So where is our role coming? Our role is coming in explicit type conversion. Explicit means manual conversion. Manually, you have to change from one data type to another data type. So manual conversion done by the programmer. It is completely done by my programmer. When I will go for a manual conversion, when I want to store a bigger data into a smaller data type. When I want to go the opposite way, I have a double. Value is a double. That double I want to store in a float. So then I will go for a manual conversion. So please remember, when you have to go for explicit, whenever you have the result is a bigger number that needs to be stored inside a smaller data type. So let us go with our previous example. So what we created on byte, right? So let us go with that example. So I am saying byte B1, B2, B3. So I'm having 3 byte variables. So I'm saying byte, 1 byte of memory. So let us say B1 is equal to 10, B2 equals to 20, and I'm saying B3 is equal to B1 plus B2. Now, all we are going to do is system.out.println of B3. So print the value of B3. Now, as you know, when I run it, it is going to end up throwing errors. I already showed you this, right? Because what is the reason I told you? Whenever you're doing any arithmetic operations or any type of operations on whole numbers, the result is going to be of what data type? Integer. And integer data type occupies 4 bytes. So obviously it is of a higher memory range. We are trying to fit inside a byte of 1 byte. So not possible. So how to go about this? You have to do an explicit type conversion. So what is the syntax? So first remember how to do this. What is the syntax? The syntax is variable name. That is variable name inside which you want to store the value. Then what is our target data type? What data type you want to convert? So that is our target data type. We have to mention that within parenthesis. Then what is the value? What is the value we are planning to convert? That value needs to be given ending with a semicolon. So this is the syntax we are supposed to be following. So let us try to apply this syntax in our program. So what I said, target data type. So what is our target data type? Result is an integer. I am planning to convert that into a byte. So my target data type is a byte. So which needs to be converted into a byte? This B1 plus B2 needs to be converted into a byte. So now when I run this, see what is it? There is no error. Perfectly it is doing. So this is what I mean by an explicit type conversion. So you as a programmer has to accept the responsibility and do it. Now, why is this given like this? Why can't my compiler take care of it? Why should the programmer have this headache? It is because whenever you are doing an explicit type conversion, data loss can happen. So there is a possibility that data is going to be corrupted or data loss is going to happen. So that is why the compiler is not doing it automatically. It says you are the programmer, you accept the responsibility. Simple example I can give you. Let us take a double. Let us take a double data type. Okay, there you go. I am saying double. Okay, double D is equal to, this is the value I'm storing. Now, I have an integer variable. I'm saying int x is equal to D. This is when I run this. Okay, when I run this, obviously it is not going to work. Why? Because D is 8 bytes, X 4 bytes. So higher to lower. Again, it is not possible. So now when I do the conversion, I have to do an explicit conversion. What is the syntax I told you? Target data type. Here, this double, you want to convert it into what? Into an integer. So give that inside the parenthesis. Now run this program. But look at the output you're going to be getting. Okay, sorry, not B3. I have to print X. Right, run it. Yes, look at the output, what I'm getting. Where is the decimal part gone? That 0.36987 is dot. The data is lost for me. Why? Because I'm converting into an integer. Integer has the capacity to accept only whole numbers. It cannot take any fractional value. So data loss may happen whenever I am trying to do an explicit type conversion. That is the reason why compiler is not doing it. So whenever there is a loss of data, the programmer has to know what is happening. That is why it is explicit. That is why it is manual. So this is the concept of my type conversion. So again, type conversion, especially explicit, we will be making use of lot in our upcoming programs. So if you have any doubts, please let me know. We can clarify it now itself. Or is this clear? Yeah, I got a message only from Pavan. What about all others? Please let me know. Can I move on to the next topic? Is it clear?
Others also responding. Please scroll the chat.
Okay, done. Okay, that's great.